Chapter 12, our main topic is the current issues in the society. Okay, let's start. The Philippines, our country, is now facing a number of issues in concerning with different organizations or different aspects, like for example, in economics, insecurity. But we are very passionate in raising awareness of these issues and passionate also in developing grassroots solutions. When we say grassroots solutions, these are the very foundation or the very source, not just temporary but permanent solutions. So some of these issues that we are facing as a country are poverty, unemployment, and environmental legislation. When we say environmental legislation, these are the order or laws that the government provided in answering the concerns or issues. Unfortunately, the Filipinos, they don't really believe in those legislation in which way they prefer to work in other countries. So for this topic, our intended learning outcomes or our objectives are the following. First is to identify the current issues in the society that we live in, then the causes and effects of these current issues, showing awareness with commitment in helping to address these issues, somehow to solve the issues, to create possible solutions that can help eliminate or prevent these problems. And lastly, as a student, as an NSTP student, what can we do to address these issues? Our first activity, so just by watching television, or listening to the radio, or even looking at your social media accounts, you can see some examples of news articles or topics that we always hear almost every day. Like for example, crimes or analysis question. Analysis question is a question in where you have to analyze and give your own opinion based on your own experiences. No? So according to this, give your understanding about a quote by Bill Gates. As you know, Bill Gates is one of the most very influential and the richest man in the world. So according to him, if you are born poor, it is not your mistake, but if you die poor, then it is your mistake. Pinanganak ka, having your parents, yung mama mo is household helper, and time mo is a farmer, a carpenter. So do you consider yourself poor? Because you cannot choose kung sino yung magiging magulang mo, di ba? But if you die poor, it is your mistake. So from the time that you were born to the time na you are about to die, did you really make some effort para improve mo man lang yung sarili mo? So that is what we mean by this quote. That's one example, that's an answer to be exact, but you have to elaborate, then give some explanation or some examples. Major issues in the society that we are facing includes poverty, unemployment, campus bullying, gender and development, juvenile delinquency, war against drugs, attacks on civil society, freedom of media, children's rights, sexual orientation and gender identity. We have death penalty and K international factors. Okay, first let's discuss poverty. So according to this definition, it is not having enough material position or income for a person's need. I understand this income for a person's need. This statement really correlates to what the poverty means. But this very first statement or definition of poverty na not having enough material possession, parang medyo broad siya. Kasi not having enough material possession, what do we mean by material possession? Pag sinabing mga material possession, yun yung mga nahahawakan natin. So, for example, wala kang Nike shoes, that is a material possession, di ba? That means you are poor. Okay? So, according to what I have read sa Facebook, if you own more than 3 sets of shoes daw, then you are really wasting your money. Okay? So, nagpapanubra ka na ngayon. Poverty includes social, economic, and political elements. Makikita natin yan upon our discussion. Okay? Poverty has two characteristics or classifications. Poverty can be absolute or relative. So, by definition, absolute poverty is the lack of necessary to meet your basic personal needs such as clothing, food, and shelter. So, ibig sabihin, pag wala ka nito, pwede kang mamatay. If you have no food to eat, then siguro in months time, pwede kang, or you might die of hunger just like sa mga African countries. Clothing, sa estado natin or dito sa Philippines, hindi naman siya masyadong necessary, no? Pwede kang magsuot ng kahit anong damit. Unlike dun sa lalamig na mga areas, ng mga countries na pag hindi sila nag-wear ng mga coats, they could die of cold. Then, of course, shelter. Kasi if ever na wala kang shelter, pwede kang atakihin ng mga dangerous na mga animals or insects. So, pwede magkamatay. So, these are the things na pag wala ka, hindi ka mabubuhay. Poverty is an outcome of long-standing conflicts between haves and have-nots. So, itong have and have-nots, yun yung sinasabi ko na kanina na medyo conflicting yung definition niya of poverty. Hindi siya simplified definition of poverty. So, when you are poor, you have limited opportunities and justifying social inequality. Like for example, pag, let's say na lang sa mga schools, you don't have enough resources, you can just go to a local university or colleges. But when it comes to job hunting, especially in urban areas, mostly ang tinitingnan nila are those applicants coming from rich universities, applicants from the, sabi natin mga UVALs or mga A-level na mga universities. Sa nursing, yung mga schools galing from Leyte compared to schools from University of Santo Tomas, from USJR, sa Cebu naman yun. So, whom do you think has a greater opportunity to be employed? Poverty mostly is the cause of some social problems, like, for example, crimes, diseases, squatting, unemployment, homelessness, terrorism, malnutrition, and illiteracy. So, i-connect natin yung crime and terrorism. I-connect natin yung disease, malnutrition. I-connect natin yung squatting and homelessness. So, when you are poor, diba, when you are poor, you don't have enough money to buy for your needs. The tendency is, lalo na if you are very desperate enough, no? Pwede kang mag-isip ng masama. Like, for example, yung magnakaw ka na lang, maglooting ka, magnakaw ka, mang-hold up, o mapasama ka dun sa mga kidnapping ng mga organizations, mainganyo ka sa mga ganong grupo because they promise na hahatian ka, ganyan. So that's how these crimes evolved or started, no? Sa terrorism naman, ganun din. Katulad nung before pa, nung hindi pa nagkaroon ng pandemic, yung NSTP organization, sa NSTP dati, nagkaroon sila ng seminar about anti-terrorism. Anti-terrorism. Connect natin to sa poverty. Anti-terrorism. they invited someone na terrorist siya before, pero nagbalik loob na siya. Okay? So, according to him, ang mga target kasi nila i-recruit yung mga na ang hanap buhay is pagsasaka, ganyan. And you know naman na kung kailan lang mag-aani, saka sila lang magkakaroon ng provision for money, literal na money para pangbili ng mga kung anong mga positions, di ba? Although di ka magugutom, ay pwede ka naman magtanim-tanim. Pero iba pa rin yung opportunity na binibigay pag nagkakaroon ka ng pera. Okay. So, yung mga nire-recruit nila are those coming from mga liblib na mga kabundukan. Okay. According doon sa in-invite nila na dating terorista, ini-invite sila, then pinapangakuan sila ng, I think, 5,000 monthly yata. Yun, 5,000 monthly. Parang trabaho ang ginagawa nila. So, every month, meron silang pay. And that is 5,000. So, syempre, yung mga iba na walang trabaho, maiinganyo sila kasi monthly na income na yon. Only to find out after how many months. At first, nabibigyan pa sila. Then, nung katagalan na, hindi na natutupad yung mga pangako nila. Hindi na natutupad yung pangako na monthly salary. And worst is, nagugutom daw sila. Yung kinakain na lang nila is mga saging, mga some sort of that food, mga saging na lang, mga ganon. And not to mention, syempre, yung security nila. Diba? So, doon, nag-start yung mga recruitment ng mga ganyan. In relation to poverty pa rin. Okay? Sa diseases, okay, kung wala kang shelter, andyan ka lang sa langsangan, so, you know how, madumi yung mga kalsada, andun yung lahat ng mga basura, so, probably, makaka-imitate ka ng mga diseases. Squatting naman. Squatting, meron kang homelessness and squatting. So, what's the difference between this one? Homelessness nga ni uso yan sa mga US. Ay, even dito na, yung mga taong nakatira na lang sa mga, sa pavements ba, walking pavements. So, naglalatag na lang sila ng mga karton, and then, doon sila lang natutulog. So, those people are called homeless people. Squatting naman, ang squatting first, nag-i-start with nagtatayo ka ng bahay-bahayan sa isang area or lupa na hindi naman sa'yo. Next is malnutrition. Yeah, kung wala kang makakain, wala kang pambili ng pagkain, ang tendency is magiging malnourished ka. Wala nang nutrients na pumapasok sa katawan mo. Illiteracy, when you have not enough to pay for school, wala kang pamasahe, ang tendency is hindi ka na lang papasok. Pero fortunately ngayon, even up to college, kahit sa higher level of education na libre na po tayo. So I think wala nang magiging reason kung bakit hindi nakakagraduate ang mga kabataan ngayon, no? Unemployment naman, okay. So, sa unemployment, let's say, pag nangang-apply ka kasi, maraming mga requirements yan, maraming mga government na mga nire-require yan, mga government IDs and BI like that. For example, dito sa atin, okay, malayo ang Tacloban. Kung wala kang sources, wala kang pamasahe, wala kang pangkuha ng mga requirements na ganyan, so, ang tendency is, di ka na lang kukuha, tatambay ka na lang. Kaya wala na nga. Wala kang any means of para makakuha ng mga requirements para makapag-apply. The following are the social, scientific, and cultural disciplines about poverty. So, yung poverty is ina-align siya sa economics, sa politics, sa law, and sa education. Okay, ito na, yung economics. The two classifications of poverty, yung relative and absolute. Relative poverty is it is defined in terms of median family income. So according to NEDA, National Economic Development, the median family income can be determined by arranging the different income ranges by increasing or decreasing order, then determine the middle income level. So parang ina-average ng NEDA yung mga family income. Then pag below ka sa middle or sa median, pag below ka sa average yung income mo, then it means you are considered poor. Meron pa nga doon yung na-news dati na sinabing ang 10,000 daw is enough na for 5 persons. It can be, yes, it can be true if yung mga anak mo is maliliit pa, pag hindi ka pa nagpapaaral, pwede pang madala sa gata, sa diaper. But what if kung mga nag-aaral na sa college yung mga anak mo? For 10,000 pesos minus yung rent ng bahay. Let's say wala tayong bahay, no? Nagre-rent lang tayo. Rent ng bahay, tuition ng mga anak mo. Sabihin na natin wag na yung tuition, kaya libre naman yung pag-aaral. Yung allowances, yung pamasahe, yung kung ano-ano pang mga extracurricular activities nila. Sama pa doon yung food nyo. Okay. Do you think 10,000 pesos is sufficient? So, pag hindi, ibig sabihin nun, poor ka. So, absolute poverty, in terms of cash, income, expenditures, yun. Pag wala ka nun, then you are considered absolute poor. Okay. So, paano natin ma-determine if we are poor or we are in the level of absolute poverty? So here, the family cannot afford to buy adequate and balanced diet. Adequate nga ni yung tamang diet. Di ba mayroon tayong tinatawag na isang kahig, isang tuka? So yung parang ganun na type. Ang usual sa atin, di ba, is 3 meals a day. But yung mga isang kahig, isang tuka, kung kailan ka lang makakasahod, saka ka lang makakain, wag na natin isama yung mga kagustuhan natin, ng mga bagay na gusto nating bilhin. Doon tayo sa mga basic, yung food. So, meron iba, di ba, nakikita nyo, parang gino-joke na nila na yung mga chichirya, ginagawa nilang ulam. Pero, not knowing na may mga cases talaga na gano'n, realidad talagang gano'n. Yung toyo, asin na lang yung ulam. So, that is very inadequate. Wala nang nourishment ang nakukuha sa mga ganon. Okay? Next, is we cannot afford to buy at least 3 sets of clothing. 3. Regular lang natin na sinusuot. Okay? For example, yung t-shirt mo, paulit-ulit. Short mo, paulit-ulit. Okay? So, hindi mo kayang bumili ng 3 set ng mga damit. They cannot send their children even up to grade 6. So, sabi ko mga kanina, libre na po ang pag-aaral. Meron po tayong mga national schools na pwedeng mag-aral ng libre. So, it's your choice na kung ipaaralin niyo pa sila sa mga private schools. Even sa college, meron na pong libre na mga college, local colleges na. Now, ang magiging problema na lang dito, kasi dito determine siya hanggang grade 6. Ang magiging problema na lang dito is yung pamasahe ng bata at saka allowance. Swerte na lang kung ang bata is porsigido na kahit walang allowance, walang snack, is pumapasok sa school. Next is they cannot attend their medical needs such as buying vitamins, medicines for their illnesses. Ako mismo, I'm afraid magkasakit or whatsoever na mga na misfortunes na mangyayari because literally, pag na-hospital ka, sabihin na natin, merong PhilHealth naman. Kahit PhilHealth, gagastos ka pa rin. No? Kahit sabihin mo covered ng PhilHealth, gagastos ka pa rin sa pagkain, yung pagpunta-punta doon, o kung anong mga kailangan. So, mahirap pa rin magkasakit. And after that, yung mga medicines na kailangan natin i-intake ng regular. Hindi mo tayong makabili mga ng mga gamot. If ever na magkasakit, then those are considered absolute poor sila. They don't pay attention to sanitation of their families, home, and surroundings. O yung pera nila sakto lang pambili ng food, wala silang pang-repair ng bahay. So, ang tendency is, yung sanitation, when we refer to sanitation, isama na natin dito yung toilet and bath. No? So, wala na silang pakialam doon. Maligo man sila o hindi, yung paglabas nila ng pag-poop nila is ginagawa nila kung saan-saan na lang. So, hindi na parang naging required sa bahay o sa shelter yung mga ganyan sa sanitation. And they cannot pay their house rentals. If ever na pag nag-renta lang. Cannot pay their house rentals, ang tendency is sa kalsada sila maninirahan. That is absolute poverty. In politics naman. So, the government has done many contributions or let's say yung kanina na mga legislations para ma-improve somehow yung pamumuhay ng mga tao. Okay? What are these? Like for example, yung mga 4Ps. Okay? 4Ps, meron akong nakita, nagpasalamat siya because nakagraduate siya through 4Ps. Yung mga allowance, kung regular yung binibigay sa kanila is yung napabili ng pagkain, pang-maintenance, mga bata or kung ano man. As long as, pero syempre may mga kapalit nun. For mga bata na mag-aaral, dapat talaga continuous yung pag-aaral nila. Parang motivation lang yun na ginagawa ng government para win-win situation. Ma-improve yung buhay nyo and then makatulong din kayo sa government. For sa mga senior citizens naman, actually very mga maswerte ng mga senior citizens ngayon kasi meron na silang regular pension. So, yung pension na yon are for medicines, mga gamot nila, mga maintenance nila, hindi para sa mga kung ano-ano manhan, no? Kasi maswerte na sila at nabigyan sila. Hindi lahat nabibigyan. Kasi sinasabi nila yung mga government employees, hindi daw pwede, where in fact, yung mga pensions ng mga government employees is nanggaling din naman sa mga pinagtrabahuan nila. Okay? So, no comparison. Yun na lang. In law, okay, it is recognized as a mitigating factor for the determination of punishment. Poverty is considered as one of the causes of increased crime rates among the poor by increasing their stress. Okay, so, sa law, sinasabi na it is used as a factor para ibigay yung punishment na nararapat sa kanila. Kasi according to this, if you are poor, most probably na marami kang stress na kinakaharap. So, from that, nakakapag-isip ka ng hindi magaganda. Pero on my own personal opinion, it is not a basis to commit some crimes or whatsoever. In education, okay, poverty affects the learning ability of the pupils to effectively profit from the conducive learning environment. Conducive learning environment, it is an environment kung saan maaliwalas, maganda yung place para mag-aral. Pero kahit na ganun, kahit maayos yung mga classroom, or if the students go to school na walang nakain or naglakad ng galing sa malayo, ang tendency pa rin yan is walang pumapasok na learning sa kanila. So, doon na i-relate yung poverty sa education. Pupils coming from poor families whose primary needs are not met as prescribed in Maslow's hierarchy of needs, the need for a stable home to live in. Okay, so ganun. So, what do we mean by Maslow's hierarchy of needs? Okay, ito yon, no? Kung nakikita nyo, This is Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Ito is a pyramid. Yung pinakababa, yun yung mga pinaka-basic na pangangailangan ng tao. Hanggang dun sa pinakataas, where ang pinakataas signifies na you had achieved self-fulfillment. Ganon. Pero hindi na tayo aabot doon sa discussion natin. Ang pinaka-basic lang natin yung ipapakita natin. So, physiological needs. So, yung mga pangangailangan ng tao para mabuhay. Like food, water, what is this? And rest. Warmth and rest. So, warmth, ito yung clothing. Rest, ito yung shelter. So, pag nag-gain yan lahat, then that's the time na nagkakaroon ng safety or feeling of security ang mga tao. Okay, so there is a term in education which states that the rich getting richer and the poor getting poorer. So, ano to? This is called the Matthew effect. So, as for me, it is, sabihin na natin, it is yung base dun sa mga opportunities na naibibigay doon sa mga rich. Diba? Pag rich ka, marami kang opportunities, marami kang sources na pwede mong magamit para improve yung sarili mo. Whereas kung poor ka, wala kang magamit na resources, hindi ka makakapag-enhance ng knowledge, hindi mo ma-enhance yung mga skills mo dahil wala kang magamit. Then ang tendency doon is na-stuck ka lang doon sa poverty level. That is the Matthew effect. Pero pwede pa naman natin i-surpass yung level na yun, no? So, hindi tayo mag-box doon sa, ay, mahirap lang ako. Ay, wala akong pamasahe, di na ako papasok. Ay, wala akong snack, di na ako papasok. Okay, somehow, yung motivation pa rin natin, it comes from ourselves.